virtually. Can you imagine in real life?
Yeah,
Make sure you attend a race.
Yeah, you just walk up to it and like comes up to your ankles. And you're like, how does a human fit in that? But they do, and they're quick. I mean, if you can see the driver's model in the cockpit there, just how low that thing sits to the ground, it's just unbelievable. It's like a go-kart with 600 horsepower. It's crazy.
Great question from chat. So, a lot of O's. What is the Nordschleife of being releasing? Any info on that? Well, I unfortunately do not have a direct contact with the ACC devs. So, TBD.
I'm excited.
TBD.
I mean, that came on the heels of the announcement that the 24 Hours of the Nürburgring would become a part of the Intercontinental GT Challenge, which is a really exciting announcement. So that is a great thing for race fans, but also for ACC fans, because they get to be on the Nordschleife here in ACC, and that is a wild racetrack. If you've never driven it in a sim, a laser scan version is the best way to experience it, and that will be hopefully happening soon for all of you folks around the world to get to experience it in the simulator. It's nothing like the real world as far as physically being there. You should go to that race if you can, if you're in Germany or nearby, but if you can't, ACC is the next best thing.
Did we talk? Do you have a sim rig at home? Or
I sure do. I just built one last year, and my broadcast room has a sim right in front of it, and I've got triple screens on it and things. And
okay.
you know, I for the longest time I hadn't built one, but I finally did, and it really is worth the experience. But even if you don't have the space or time or ability to have one in your house, because they are a spatial commitment, is how I'll put that. Virtual reality is a great way to kind of size things down. You know, you can do virtual reality. You can get just a single monitor rig. You can just clamp a wheel to the desk and get it done that way. There's a variety of ways to do it, but if you have the space and the ability to get a rig, it's just awesome to have everything bolted down tight. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I mean, speaking about that, a lot of folks, I mean, if you have a controller and you're interested in sim racing, try at it. I mean, you don't need a wheel to have a good time, you know? So don't let the overwhelmingness of making sure you have a rig, those triple screens, etc. But honestly, if you have a good time, when I started sim racing, I clamped that wheel to the desk and I put sneakers on the bottom of my computer chair to stop it from rolling when I press on the brakes. So, I mean, you do what you can to do your best. So, I know a lot of folks who race with the, someone who actually won a race this past weekend, races with the sim wheel in their lap. So, you know, if you wanted to do it, you could.
I've seen clever contraptions with cardboard and string and duct tape, and then using like toilet paper tubes. I've seen all sorts. They would strap it to like a mouse, and people get all very crafty with it. But it really is worth looking into some Fanatec gear and getting yourself set up at home to participate in these community races. But Ash, we're moving on to qualifying.
All right, what times are we expecting to see here, Kyle?
So as far as lap times are concerned, I think we're going to see a little bit of variance, but we should see times that are relatively co-requisite with GT3 times, probably somewhere between the 215 to 220 range I'm expecting, but we'll see how conditions play into that as well. The hotter it is, the slicker it gets. Of course, ACC models that, plus marbles and things as well. So marbles are, of course, when you slide the tire across the surface and you're going to shred some of that rubber off. And that's not great to run over, especially late in a session. But look at this battle here off into the tail end of the lap on board with Skylar Lovering in the Maserati Corsa car. And what you don't want to be is held up by a car in front of you. And you see they're slowing down to get some distance to the car ahead.
Yeah, and again, they are mindful that there's many a variety of driver skills here. You want to make sure you leave enough racing room and be respectful to your fellow driver, but a race, you know? So you're going to do what you can to get that edge, get that advantage, or beat the guy behind you.
Absolutely. You see down there, we're getting a great look on board there with the HUD in the bottom right. Traction control setting 3 out of 12. You see that adjustment shift there. ABS 3 out of 11. So you can see the adjustments back to 2. So it's just interesting to watch the drivers make those adjustments in real time here in the top of 6th gear through Raidillon, 240 Ks plus. Now down the Kemmel Straight. This is a lot of fun to watch. And then on the brakes, this is where that ABS will be going fully to work here to slow this car down, keep the tires from locking up.
It'll be interesting to see what the different braking points are in a GT2. Probably not by too much, but it is very interesting to see the slight differences that can make or break those tenths of a second, because so many variables count when you're racing, specifically sim racing as well. So.
Yeah, absolutely, and braking technique is also important. You just watch the brake trace there on the bottom right as Leverink brakes into the corner. Basically, the bar fills up for a moment and then trails off. It slowly releases, and that slow release as the car is slowing down allows the car to point the nose right into the center of the corner, and as soon as they're settled right there, watch that trail off right there, center of the corner, back on throttle, not spending a lot of time coasting. I think, you know, a lot of race car drivers will tell you that you're steering the car as much with the pedals as you are with the steering wheel inside the car.
Yeah, there's a lot of modulating of the accelerator here in Spa, as well as trail braking accurately and hitting those apexes. And again, not going too wide. We talked about the track limits, everyone's favorite discussion, and hitting those apexes right on accurately. And then in the last chicane, I know it kind of changes varies to varies, especially if you're racing with someone. It'll be, again, interesting to see the different skill levels and in the GT2 car that some folks maybe haven't had a lot of practice with since its release.
You made a point about braking points. I don't know if a lot of drivers really knew that coming into the session. Their only experience was in practice, so that braking point will move around as the weather changes, and in traffic, when you've got a car ahead of you, your braking point is going to be different. So it's very, very dynamic. Every lap you're making adjustments, and Leverink throttles up out of the corner, keep a tire touch in the curbing there to stay on track and stay in contention, and the first laps across the board, Leverink 2:18, 6:92. What I say, 2:15 to 2:20?
Yes.
Not so bad.
Not so bad at all. Kyle, I would say you've commentated Spa often enough to know.
Well, and we'll see if that changes a bit. But again, you know, comparing lap times in GT3 cars, they're not that different. So there's a lot of differences between the cars as far as their technical makeup. There's not really a lot in common at all, actually. But the overall pace over the course of a lap is very, very similar. And that even goes to cars within a category. When you talk about balance of performance and things like that in GT3 or in GT2, while the lap times might be the same, the cars drive completely differently and make speed in really different ways. So the KTM is going to find speed in places the Maserati can't. The Audi will find speed in places that the KTM can't. And that's the beauty of GT sports car racing, is all of them will find speed very differently, but run the same time.
Pax Crusader makes a great point in the chat. Kyle, you said a variety of weather. Are you hinting at anything in particular? A little bit of rain, or do you know something that we don't?
I wouldn't dare hint at anything. Who knows? I mean, if you've watched a Spa, well, you know, there you go. If you've watched a CrowdStrike 24 Hours of Spa, you know the weather can change immediately. And it can also downpour quite heavily here. It's a track known for having some inclement weather at times, especially over the course of an entire day. So it always has that complexity possible. I'm not hinting at anything in particular, but I wouldn't count it out.
Yeah, I wouldn't put it past our team to maybe throw some fun surprises here in the race. But again, this will be a 40-minute race. They'll have 3 minutes pre-race to, you know, do any setup adjustments, any fine-tuning that they've learned about themselves in qualifying in the car. That mandatory pit stop, they will have to refuel the car for a refueling time of 25 seconds, and their tires are optional, whatever they want to do for themselves.
Yeah, pit lane here is a challenge as well. It's a long pit lane. And anytime you have a long pit lane, you have to really plan out when you come to pit road and really consider where you are on track in relation to your opponents. If you pit too soon, you might give up some performance in the tire or on the tail end of the run at the end of the race, or if you pit too late, might give up some performance elsewhere. But it might just be a fuel only and go, and at that point, it really just comes down to where you are in traffic to decide when you want to pit. But 40-minute race, you've got a lot of opportunity. You just don't want to make the wrong decision and get yourself back in traffic.
You speed in the pit lane, you were P1, and then suddenly you hit a penalty, and then here we are, back at P15.
It's like driving on a highway with a cop every 15 yards. They will get you if you speed on pit lane. They are looking for it, and of course you've got the pit limiter to help slow you down. It's basically a button in the cockpit that limits you electronically to what should be about 50 Ks down here at Spa. And you just, what catches people with pit limiters is the entry and the exit, either hitting the button too late on entry or undoing it too early on exit. And we have seen drivers get caught for that in the past.
At PRI at Indianapolis, when we had one of our races, we had someone, I think, just accidentally hit their pit limiter while they were in the pits and just And not even exit, entry or exit, just accidentally just hit it on the wheel. It happens.
I've seen racers lose races because they hit the wrong button on the racetrack, where they were looking for the radio button, and they would hit the pit limiter right at coming up to the start-finish line. That has happened before, so all in consideration of making sure you know the button layout, which, this always takes me to this conversation, Ash, is Fanatec's gear. They have a steering wheel that you can buy as a normal human being. You can go to Fanatec store and buy this. It is a BMW M4, the M4 GT3 steering wheel that directly plugs into the real car. And so you can learn exactly what the button layout of the real car is on your sim rig. And that is just an unbelievable tool for the drivers that run that car in the real world, because they have the opportunity to practice where those buttons are. In the heat of the moment, you need to know where every single control is.
Well, hopefully today they are, since they're in their own rigs, which we can also talk about the difference between coming to an event like PRI or in our esports arenas throughout our variety of races at Spa, for example, and racing at home where you're used to your setup, your controls, your button mapping, and then going to a public one. That also changes things up and shakes up differences.
Totally. You get used to your equipment and your gear, not even just the button layouts and things, but also just the way it feels. The brake pedal in particular is one that if it doesn't feel exactly like you're used to, it will be distracting. So that's something that is hard to, even if you're the best sim racer on planet Earth, you're going to have an adjustment period when you're changing rigs. So, and that's something that real drivers have to contend with as well. Jumping from one car to another. We see that all the time in SRO Motorsports America when drivers jump from maybe Pirelli GT4 America into a Fanatec GT World Challenge car. 10 minutes later, you have to readjust every bit of your inputs to be on track as fast as possible, and that's hard to do. There's a handful of drivers that are able to do it very well, but it is a challenging proposition.
Now we do have a fast time of 2:17.870. Bizarre. Are we going to see anyone beat that in the next 4 minutes and 40 seconds?
It's going to be tough. Hamza Golzar is known here. If you're a frequent spectator of the community races or maybe the SRO Motorsports esports events, Hamza is always up there in the front. 0.8 of a second around Spa. May not seem as much as 0.8 of a second around a much shorter racetrack, but that will be tough for anyone to cling to. But Leverink in that number 2 Maserati is going to be probably the best horse for the race there. Then, of course, Dromo and Cloutier is not too far behind. But sticking with Hamza on those opening laps to keep him honest, that's going to be a challenge.
It's one thing to peel away in the beginning and then just kind of own the race for the remainder of the time and making sure you don't make any mistakes or slight variable changes causing any kind of incidents. But I know the top folks here have kind of pretty much practiced every single day, if not for a couple of hours. With we did have an esports streamer stop in, and I mentioned that I practice. I said a lot. Chat makes fun of this. Makes fun of me for this. I said I've been practicing a lot. I said I practiced 2 to 3 hours today. And I said, oh, how much did you practice? And he goes, oh, 8 hours.
Yeah, exactly.
Just like a standard, this is my job. I'm just driving 8 hours a day. It's fine. So I was like, okay, I feel silly for saying 3.
Yeah, I'm the same way where I practice so much, and you say an hour or 2, and then the people that are really in the know have done dozens of hours to prepare for big events. It really is amazing how much they put effort in. Here's Hayden Harder, by the way, in the Porsche 911 GT2. This is a really neat-looking car, and a great livery as well, as you pointed out.
Looks very cool. Hayden, you might have met him at PRI, if anyone was there. So we see some of the names are familiar because they have raced with us previously at PRI Indianapolis, and our previous community race here on the Twitch stream.
Yeah, and another driver that's been with us for a handful of events and driving this Porsche, which is unique in this category, as it is in many categories of racing across the world, including GT3, where it is a rear-engine car. So that changes the balance and dynamics quite a bit in comparison to some of the other cars. It has very unique driving characteristics, but they certainly haven't stopped Porsche from becoming one of the most successful racing manufacturers of all time. So I'd expect that Porsche to be very, very good. None of them have actually put in a lap time yet, though, here in qualifying, Ash. So we haven't really gotten to see the true pace in this qualifying setting just yet. We'll see what Hayden can do.
And while we're beautifully educating us, chat has demanded that you show us your cat.
Okay, well, I think I'll have to... Here, let's see if we can get him up. Let's see here. Here he is. Okay. There he is. I figured this would happen at some point, so we might as well get it out of the way. This is Apollo, if you're not familiar. And he's a very sleepy boy today, but he'll be very fine and content to just hang out and watch the race for the next little bit.
We need Apollo emotes. I think that's going to be one of the emotes.
They discussed that last time. He was on a community race when we were at Watkins Glen, I think, in December. And that was a popular idea back then as well. So, yeah, he's doing good. You see how sleepy he is?
Does he like lasagna by any chance? Chat?
Lasagna. I can't say he likes lasagna. He does like spinach leaves, though, which is weird.
Hates lunches?
Yeah, and then what's the other thing? Straws. I'm sure this is a common cat thing, but anything that's like long and thin, like straws, he has knocked over many a drink because he wants the straw so bad.
Swatting.
Yeah, it's actually a problem. So we've been working on that together. But yeah, he's adamant that he's going to keep that hobby. So.
Well, that was our cat watch for today. Apollo Hire. We'll get some kitty emotes in the chat. Here we have Hayden putting up just two. I'm trying to add 2 seconds to the 17.8.
Oh.
2:20 over here. Interesting. 2.772 seconds away from P1 at 2:17. Interesting. Seeing some Porsches put up the time. We have two more folks. I'm trying to put in those final laps. Hickman and Castillo in the Maserati and Porsche, respectfully.
Yeah, and I think you pointed out earlier that a variety of skill levels here, but I just have to point out that there's actually, this is a pretty close qualifying session considering how new these cars are and how large Spa is. When you put it in perspective that if you were 1/10 of a second off in every corner here at Spa, you would be off by 2 seconds by the end of the lap. So that means that Fantasia we're looking at now is less than 1/10 slower than the leader in every corner. That is wild when you consider the 7 kilometers of being only 1/10 of a second off. A little wide there. And he was up on in the green on that lap and was going to go quicker, but ran wide at Blanchimont and invalidated that lap back.
Maybe trying to figure out where those limits are, right? It's one thing to start, but this is also, I mean, I say this every single time, just races of attrition. Not only do you have to survive racing with others, you have to survive anything that you accidentally might do, overdriving, going wide, anything like that. So hopefully we'll see some incredible driving. And our drivers right now are kind of ending qualifying, and they're going to go through a pre-race, any setup adjustments as they've learned just now. A lot of them, I think as you mentioned, Kyle, some folks have been able to maybe try a little bit of the GT2 since it just came out, I believe, yesterday on ACC. But a lot of folks, first time tonight.
Yeah, and you pointed out, it really was just yesterday. You're right. I hadn't thought about it. They are brand new cars. And you mentioned some of the setup changes. Here's one thing that if the drivers are listening that they should definitely double check. Make sure you put fuel in the car, because in qualifying you're only running for 4 or 5, maybe 6 laps. And you're going to take the fuel out of the car to lighten it up. If you forget to put the fuel back in, it's an embarrassing moment. I've done it so many times. You need to fill the tank back up to make it 40 minutes.
Yeah, and then, right, 40-minute race, mandatory pit stop, and fuel is required. So that'll be very interesting to see, again, if anyone doesn't hit their pit limiter, what kind of fuels, who takes tires, who doesn't take tires, what those strategies we'll see unfold today here at Spa with the GT2s and ACC. Welcome on in, everyone. That was just the ending of qualifying. This is a community race that you can join future community races if you join the SRO Motorsports Discord. You sign on up, regardless of what your skill level is, just come hang out with the SRO community in the Discord. Not only do we do community races, the next one being Bathurst, around the Bathurst race. However, we also discuss all things Fanatec GT World Challenge America and SRO Motorsports. So if you're a fan of sports car racing, you have found the stream and the Discord and the community for you.
They have fun in there too, by the way. It's a fun Discord to be in. So if you haven't joined just yet,
not biased whatsoever.
No, not at all. There's nothing that would make me biased in any way, shape, or form about the Discord being fun. But no, I'm excited. I am curious, though. Yes, exactly. About the strategy for this race, just from very simple perspective that this race is 40 minutes. The cars can do that on fuel, but you have to stop for fuel anyway. So maybe there's a strategy where you're only putting about a half a tank of fuel in, maybe to lighten the car up a bit, knowing that you have to take fuel again around the halfway point of the race. That would be something I would be considering. I'd also maybe not like to think about it at all and just fill the thing up with fuel and go for it. But we'll see what the drivers do. I'm not sure we'll know either way.
And here we go, the beautiful starting grid. And like you mentioned before, no one got to beat that top time.
Yeah, no one beat Hamza Golzar, and perhaps not a big surprise there. Hamza's so talented, but of course you've got Skylar Loverink there as well in the number 2 up there in second place. Row 2, of course, has Coadromo and Pierre-Olivier Cloutier in third and fourth. They're right in the catbird seat for the launch of the green flag. Anyone in the top 5, I think, could be the leader by the time you leave that first corner as well. Of course, Bruno Fantazzi in that bright red Maserati is going to be up there as well.
All right, seeing some liveries that I'm enjoying. Finally get to check out, scope out, and surprisingly, people have had enough time to design some liveries or pick some of their favorites out, which I appreciate.
It seems like DJ Clark has also joined our chat. Hi, hey there, DJ.
Hey, DJ. Good evening.
Popping in on us, seeing what's going on. I think he was on the show yesterday with the launch of the DLC, so he's already gotten to kind of preview what we're about to see this afternoon. So I'm a little jealous, but we're going to get live on air here in just a moment's time. As right at the tail end of the field there, starting in 15th place, is Will Castillo in the number 69 Porsche back in 15th. So he's got his work cut out for him here on the 7-kilometer Spa circuit for 40 minutes time. But 40 minutes, 14 cars, that seems doable to me, but you got to have pace to match.
Absolutely. What do you think we expecting? Probably the top 3, kind of, depending how they get their start, kind of pull away from the rest of the crowd.
Yeah, I think the start, of course, anytime that you have a start here at Spa, the whole idea is just surviving that first lap. But then, what are you laughing about?
It's true. It is.
Oh, okay. I was like, did I say something dumb? No, but the run down to Camel Straight to Lake Holm, every lap 1, you know, if you can make it through Lake Holm on the opening lap, you're good, I think. But getting to it, that's a big challenge. Especially, you know, the hairpin there at La Source, that can be a challenging corner on the green flag. The run through Eau Rouge and Raidillon, they're famous corners for a reason, Ash, and it's not just the geometry of them. It's all the famous moments in racing history that have come to an end down there in Eau Rouge and Raidillon.
I was just laughing at surviving because we talk about, you know, the technicalities of this car, the differences between GT2, GT3, I mean GT1, GT4. I mean, talking about Spa and the corners and whatnot. So to say something as simple as you really just got to survive turn 1, it's always funny that it comes down to something as simple, quote unquote, as that.
You know, there's the old racing adage, and it's almost annoying to hear because everyone says it so many times. But to finish first, you must first finish, and to finish, you have to make it through turn 1. Multiple times, actually. Generally, you're racing for more than just 1 lap. So that's all a consideration. And yeah, it is as much a survival race as it is a pace race, because you could be the fastest driver on planet Earth. If you are in the gravel at turn 1, it doesn't matter. So that's something that Golzar will have to keep in mind as well in that number 67 Audi, and make sure that mirror is where his eyes are, and make sure he doesn't end up with a Maserati inside the Audi down there in turn 1.
Chat, let us know who you're rooting for in the chat. We do have, I mean, from our production team, just let us know that, yeah, it is a very long formation lap as we are going around the entirety of Spa through this Formula lap. So let us know who you're rooting for. If you know someone, because you follow them as either Twitch streamers, YouTube streamers, if you know someone from other sim racing competitions, or maybe you just like their livery, let us know. Let us know. HCast saying, let's go Artemis. That's Delisandro here. I told her what to do. Oh, you told her to make sure to add enough fuel? We appreciate that.
I wish I had that reminder.
Might make it a post-it note and put it on one of my monitors.
You know, funny you say that. There are drivers, and this is true, that on occasion you'll see in the in-car cameras that they have the track map taped to the steering wheel. And everyone always asks me, they go, why do they have that? Don't they know where they're going? Well, yes, they do. But when a track is 20 turns long, you know, you have to make sure that when you're giving feedback to your team that you're talking about the same place on the racetrack. And oftentimes at places like this that have so many corners and so many complex tidbits, you might say, oh, I'm having trouble in turn 17, but you're talking about a different turn 17 than your crew thinks you're talking about. So it's very important everyone's on the same page and understands where each corner is. That's why they have those maps. It's just for reference for the corner numbers in particular, so drivers and crews can communicate effectively.
Yeah. Strangelove asked what a good lap time is around Spa in GT2. Well, our pole position was 2:17.870 to give you a frame of reference for a great lap time. Kev's asking, how do I get in the Discord? And we have a Discord chat command. Just click on the link there provided.
And there was a request to see Apollo one more time before green flag, but he is asleeping now, so we will let sleeping cats lie and let the race get exciting here. We're working our way now through the Campus and Stavelot section here at Spa Francorchamps, and when they double up and head to the green flag, Ash, it's going to be 40 minutes of exciting action here. And what I don't see a lot of is tire warming at the moment. Everyone's, well, you see, as soon as I say that, Hamza Golzar, with the experience he's got, immediately starts to heat up those Pirellis to get set to go racing.
Chad is recommending a dedicated Apollo cam.
Hey, with a little budget, anything can happen, so we'll keep that in mind.
As we're getting closer, all right, Chad. Get ready, 40-minute race. Again, there is a mandatory stop. Fuel is required for 25 seconds. And driver's optional. No, you need to drive. Tires optional is what I meant to say. You must remain in your rig or hands-on controller as you could.
It's actually just AI and it's all predetermined. There's no real driverless. No, they're in there, I promise.
We're going to get rig claims in the Discord now. Oh, no.
Just to plan exactly as we planned it. All
Hopefully
right.
that sausage curve doesn't murder anyone, and here we go, chat.
And patience, don't jump this start either. Don't get a penalty right before the race has even started. Should be down at the further start line as well on the endurance layout of this track, so you go a little bit farther around the corner here.
Oh, right, got it.
Yep. It always trips everybody up, drivers included,
effects.
right?
That's exactly what it was for. Yep.
Of course, you got the earlier start line, you got the later start line, but the race starts down here at the gantry, and now we'll turn them loose for 40 minutes.
Start. I wonder who else got through that. And here we go. Green flag for 40 minutes of racing. One required pit stop. Next we see side anymore.
That's tight over the crest there, Radillon. Here comes Lovering on a big run here on Golzar to driver's left. Side by side between the Audi and the Maserati. It's a drag race to Lake Holm. This is what we talked about before the race started, Ash. That run to Lake Holm is so important. They're 2 by 2 by 2, 3 rows deep. Look out.
Some Audi on Maserati fighting in here.
Yeah, there might be a little contact there for third as well. Cloutier and Dromo as well. Dromo in the KTM, Cloutier in the Maserati, the car that looks a lot like the one that's leading the way, but Hamza Golzar drops to second on the opening half lap, and that's critical. It was the run. You didn't have as much time to nail the Eau Rouge Radillon complex with that later green flag, so Lovering will take the lead.
And currently not too much time difference between the top 5 as we were seeing in qualifying, as everyone's kind of setting in their spaces and in their paces here as we're going through the first lap.
Yeah, all single file, and for the most part we've avoided major dramas. I do notice the drive-through on Golzar's timing there, and I saw that pop up right at the start, and I'm not sure if it was a jump or something, but we'll keep our eyes on that, and potentially could have been out of position as well. Left, right, front, rear. Again, you have to be in a certain kind of moving box in the starting formation, and if you're out of formation, then that will be a drive-through penalty. And currently it's standing, Ash, but that would be a pretty big mistake and put him down the order quite a ways.
Oh, quite a ways. He was our, again, to remind Chad, he was our pole sitter. So
yeah.
That would be highly unfortunate, and that would cause, and again, you mentioned the pit lane here, a little bit long, a little bit time consuming. Don't want anything to get a speeding and a pit penalty, and no one was killed by the sausage trip here in the chicane as we get to lap 2 before even a race.
Yeah, the trip down the pit lane here, it takes so